And now, it's time for our first visit to the Fuzz. In this week's episode, the staff of the Metropolitan Police Global Population Squad face perhaps their greatest challenge in the first of a three-part story we call The Silence of the Chickens. Will they catch the serial parent? Will DS Grouchy get a shave? Will WPC Sparrow continue to fly high, or will she crash to the ground? Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of The Fuzz. The story so far. Shane wants to marry Dorothy, but Dorothy is already engaged to Boris, the one-legged Latvian performance poet. Cheryl has had an affair with Grant, David, Julius, Sooty, the late King Albert of Moravia, and Sydney Variety. Meanwhile, Inspector Morris and the staff of the Metropolitan Police Global Population Squad are facing their greatest challenge. What will happen next? Will they catch the serial parent before he strikes again? Or will the world population continue to expand? Find out in the final exciting episode of The Fuzz. The story so far. Cheerful Heart of Gold Sergeant Bert has been attacked by a giant sea cucumber while paddling on the beach at Southend. Inspector Morris's book, 1001 Things to Do with a Dead Suspect, has shot to number 1 on the bestseller charts. And WPC Clarice Sparrow has discovered that her father was not a chicken rancher called Norman, but was actually Boris, the one-legged Latvian performance poet. Meanwhile, Detective Sergeant Grouchy and PC Stupid, having failed in their attempt to win the World Ice Dance Championship for the second successive time, are hot on the heels of The Serial Parent. Before our next program, there's just time to look at what's on Tearfund TV tomorrow night. At 6 o'clock, there's another episode of the madcap 70s marital comedy, My divorced wife down next door's garden path. At 7:30, we join David Attenborough for another look at the wonders of the natural world, as once again we look at life in the disco. Then we go down under to Ramsey Square for another daily dose of Neighbours, where Shane receives a shock. And then we move to the northeast for another edition of the tough Tyneside cop show, Spanner. Subtitles can be found on CFAX. Finally, after the news, we have our late film. Arnold Schwarzenegger stars as the son left orphaned by hunters in Bambi 2, Judgment Day. Now, though, it's back to tonight's schedule. And now, with the time just before 8, it's time to go live to Anthea Turnip and the National Anti-Lottery! Telephones. It's pointless just to talk. Tearfund works to make this particular dish a rarity on third world tables. Apart from helping farmers grow more crops, it gives food directly to people who cannot feed themselves because of war, famine, or other disasters. If she's a poor tribeswoman in Honduras, she'll find help from Tearfund's partner, Mopawi, a Christian environmental group that has campaigned successfully to save the world's largest continuous rainforest and the tribes that live in it. Tearfund supports environmental projects around the world, from planting trees in the Sahara to helping traditional tribespeople who are struggling to survive. Tearfund water is free, has no tapeworms in, and is available for the thousands of villages our engineers and partners have visited. Just putting a proper pump in can save hundreds of lives.
Shane, I got bad news for you, mate. No, it's your wife. The same. Lorraine was out in the rain. She tripped on a drain and got hit by a train.
Too right.
What is it, Wayne? Is it Jane? Lorraine? What's happened? Struth? What a pain! Never mind, let's go and grab a beer, eh?
Why, Yuki Brun Peter Beardsley Gaza Sunderland. Who are you gunning?
You kill my father. I blow you away.
See. Useful things. Well, I bought a bike. See, a really good one with 24 gears and a bell and everything. Well, I would like to point out two things. Uno, I was not elected, but I was part of a very, very popular dictatorship. And thus, I did buy my country a lot of helpful things. Oh, you know, buildings, roads, arms, weapons, guns, tanks, catapults, that sort of thing. Well, yes, but then again, we probably wouldn't get given as much money if the West didn't think we were going to buy things from them. Well, the first thing we did was to go and talk to the listening bank. It went deaf. Then we talked to the bank who likes to say si, but he said no. Finally, the authorities agreed to reschedule our debt repayments on condition we made economies. You see, people have lost jobs. Our own aid programs have been cut. In some countries, many teachers have been sacked. Me? Oh no, it's very easy for me. The first thing I did was escape to another country, leaving everyone else to clear up the mess. I didn't spend all of the money, you know. Switzerland. Just as well I bought a mountain bike, no?
Well, this is an unpretentious little house. In fact, it's more of an unpretentious little hovel. I'm standing in the hall. At the same time, I'm standing in the kitchen, bedroom, and lounge, because there is only the one room. The bathroom, though, isn't here. That's in the street. Whoever lives here is very keen on mud. There seems to be a lot of it everywhere. And flies. There are a lot of those as well. The house has got running water. Mainly it's running down the walls, but you can't have everything. And they obviously enjoy living frugally. There aren't many possessions, but there are a lot of children huddled in one corner. So let's look at the clues. The mud, the overcrowding, the complete lack of hygiene. Whose house is this? Hello, and welcome back to Mastercook, where the three chefs have nearly finished preparing their culinary delights. And today, I'm joined by world-class chef Antoine LeBlanc, the owner of the restaurant Le Petit Chef. Welcome, Antoine. Antoine, of course, will be speaking in a ridiculous French accent for most of the show, despite the fact that his real name is Bert Throgmorton and he comes from Coventry. And joining Antoine is the deranged wine taster from a previous sketch, Oz Clark. Well, let's go and see just what mouth-watering treasures they've got in store for us. Firstly, in the yellow corner, Jocelyn Home Counties. What have you been preparing for us? Well, we can always hope. Worcester sauce. Now, moving on into the blue kitchen, George Corduroy trousers. What have you got for us? No chips? Horrible. And finally, in the yellow kitchen, Erica Pleb, what have you got? And, where is it? But there's nothing there. Well, now it's time for us to decide on a winner. Well, once again, we have conferred, cogitated, and cliched, and we've decided that the winner is the Big Mac I had on the way here to the studio. So, until next time, from Anton LeBlanc, née Bert Throgmorton, and from Oz Clark, and from myself, goodbye.
Bonjour. Naturellement. Well, you have to give the customers what they want, you know, Lloyd. I would never get a Michelin star if I didn't pretend to be French. It's very good indeed, although I would have like a different sauce. Perhaps sauce blanc Jacques Delors, or how you say, Worcestershire sauce? Yes, I thought that was how you said it. Yes, what I like about this is that although it's cooking traditional, ordinary British food, it's doing it in a really fancy way, which is what this program is all about, really. Yes, the trick here is all in the presentation. And of course, it's free from additives and very good for anyone on a diet. Au revoir, my little gherkins.
I'm getting hello with underlying flavours of welcome. Wonderful, this is the real flavour of France. I'm getting herbs, I'm getting spices, I'm getting carried away. This is really, what's the word I'm looking for? Chippy. Amazing, it's so light you hardly know you're eating it. I'm getting goodbye, I'm getting see you around, I'm getting the bus home.
Hello? Oh, pretty much the same, Mike. There is no work, and I can barely afford to earn enough to feed my wife and children. As if that wasn't bad enough, inflation is going through the roof. Everything just gets more and more expensive. Each week, more and more people are being made homeless and forced to live on the streets. Isn't there anything you can do to help? Mike, I gotta go. They're disconnecting the phone.
It's so dirty here with all the filth. You eat in it and you go to the toilet in it. The same flies that sit in it also sit on our food and we eat the food. Even the water we drink is unclean. So don't you expect we are going to fall sick? Even animals live a better life than we do.
Lovely? It's a dump. No, it really is a dump. We live next to a large rubbish dump on the outskirts of Nairobi. I have lived here for 7 years with my 4 children aged 22, 19, 16, and 12. We all live here in the house. There are 2 young men and 2 young women. You know how it is. They just leave in the morning, and they go and look for money or look for work, and they come back home in the evening. I sell charcoal, so I try in a little way, in my own strength, to earn some money. Sometimes they get, sometimes they miss. There is no guarantee. I was a married woman living in the north of the country. Then my husband passed away, and I was left with 4 children. He passed away 12 years ago when our baby was due. I was still pregnant with our first boy. Now, when he died, his brothers would not share the land with me because it was very small. So I had to move to the city with the children to look for work. Since then, I have been looking for work as a housemaid. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I don't know. Who knows how the future will be? After all, they have no employment and no education as well.
Christianity was born in Palestine. They took it to Greece and they made it into a philosophy. They took it to Rome, they made it into an institution. They took it to America, they made it into a business enterprise. They took it to England and they made it into a tourist attraction. In my country, the United States, we have spent over $180 billion on building buildings that we call churches. $180 billion to honor somebody who said, I don't dwell in temples made with hands. Please, I'm not knocking worship and I'm not knocking church buildings, but the whole thing has gotten out of hand. The task of the church and the nature of the church is this: to be a people who love one another, love God, and do the work of Jesus in the world. And Jesus' primary task, Jesus' primary calling was to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and bring the gospel to the oppressed. You know, everywhere I go, young people ask the same thing. If the church is the church, why are there so many hungry people in the world? People say, well, what do you want? Do you want every Christian to become like Mother Teresa? My answer is, yes, that's exactly what I want. The point that I want to make is that they gave her the Nobel Prize for doing what every Christian is supposed to do. Namely, to reach out to the poor, to reach out to the needy, to take care of those who are downtrodden. Because when we meet the poor, we often have to realize that Satan and demonic forces are at work creating a lifestyle that results in poverty. It's not enough just to bring food. It's not enough just to bring clothing. It's not enough just to bring money. We must bring the good news of Jesus. We must bring the power of the Holy Spirit. We must bring those spiritual forces that can drive the demonic out and create newness of life.